I've tried really, really hard to make sure that everybody's set up for this cycle. I've tried to communicate it. I've gone out a lot to say, don't fuck this up. Buy and hold, don't use leverage, use cold storage, do the right thing, don't get too speculative, don't FOMO, just don't fuck this up. This is the biggest opportunity we've ever been given. I've said that all the way from 2020 onwards. And in fact, I said it all the way back in 2012. It's the biggest macro trade of all time. Don't fuck this up. And if you're not a crypto person, technology is one of the biggest opportunities we've ever been given, the exponential age. Again, don't fuck this up.
In the ever-evolving landscape of digital assets, a growing number of individuals and market analysts are adopting a bullish stance on their prices in the coming months. Many confidently assert that the crypto winter has concluded, presenting predictions of $100,000 or more for Bitcoin as early as the approaching year of 2024. This optimistic sentiment is fueled by the upcoming Bitcoin halving and the resulting supply reduction it will induce in the market. Additionally, the potential approval of a Bitcoin spot ETF by the SEC could significantly boost demand for this asset. Of course, the upcoming United States elections also play a role, traditionally ushering in a period of greater flexibility in the Federal Reserve's monetary policies and an increase in market liquidity. In this video, we'll listen to insights from analyst and investor Raoul Pal, who delves into the importance of market cycles and their correlation with the macroeconomic environment. Pal emphasizes the high correlation of the cryptocurrency market with global market liquidity. Pal explains the current phase of the cycle and why he believes this is one of the last prime moments to invest and make a truly impactful difference. According to him, we are entering a market that could be equal to or even surpass the heights witnessed in 2021. He shares his perspective on this cycle, providing advice and insights that may guide us in capitalizing on this upcoming market movement, ensuring we don't miss out on what could be one of the most promising opportunities in recent years. So, get ready to dive in. But before you do, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you find this content intriguing. I would greatly appreciate it, as it enables me to continue producing content that I thoroughly enjoy creating. Without further ado, let's get started with this video.
Crypto has gone bananas. Bitcoin's up 119, ETH's up 63, and Solana's up 500%. So pretty good. And exactly in line what I've been imagining, which is macro spring. Macro spring and crypto spring are the same thing because macro is crypto. I've explained all the way through. These are not different things. And there's a bunch of old macro people who are like, oh, I don't like that bloody crypto stuff. It's nothing to do with macro. It's driven by exactly the same cycles. It's completely in line. So spring, what is spring like? Spring is one day it's raining, next day it's sunny, then there's frost, then it's getting warmer, then you think it's going to be amazing. You get your t-shirts out and then it's freezing cold again. That's what spring is like. That's exactly what macro spring is like and crypto spring. So we saw spring and we saw choppiness, sideways ranges, a squirt up in the beginning, then slowed down. And then we're now getting into late spring. Late spring, we're starting to see what I refer to as the banana zone, which is this massively positive end of year phase. Normally speaking, again, probabilistically speaking, no guarantees around here, so don't try and hold me and go, well, it didn't go up at the end of the year, you're a bastard. I'm bored of that stuff. Probabilistically speaking, it goes up into the end of the year, and usually fast. And nobody catches it, and everybody's chasing it because they're all trying to chase performance for the end of the year and prove to their investors that they had the right trades on, which obviously they didn't because all the institutions have been massively underweight. So that, I think, is what's taking place, and that's usually the end of crypto spring and macro spring. Then we start transitioning to summer. Summer is when rates start coming down, box looking like it's starting to be ticked. When inflation falls, that's happening. And as you know, my views on inflation are it is not sticky, it's mean reverting, and it will go back down to 2% or lower. I think it actually goes negative in this cycle, and I think core inflation will go negative this cycle too. And that's what we're going to look for in 2024. And that will take people by surprise. And I think the Fed purposely orchestrated it. They want it. They want to see rates lower so they can refinance the debt. So interest rates falling, inflation falling, unemployment rising. And then when you look at the forward-looking indicators, growth will be picking up from the floor. That is the perfect macro environment. Then we're coming into election year, as all of these macro springs have been since the Great Reset of 2008. They're all the same timing. Macro summer is the same as the election year, is the same as the halving year. In Bitcoin, it's all the same bloody thing. So that is about to play out. So 2024, I think, is going to be a pretty wild ride. Normally these years tend to have periods of sideways consolidation or corrections, and then these huge spurts. And we tend to see a couple of those during the year. So nothing's going to be a straight line, but it should be an extremely good year. And then 2025 will be even better. That's usually the batshit crazy year, which is the transition from macro summer into macro fall, where everything kind of goes exponential before you start transitioning to winter, rates start going up again, markets pull back again, and we go through the same cycle. And that's been happening consistently since 2008.
Raoul Pal forecasts that investors should brace themselves for a year of aggressive market recovery, following a cycle that has been unfolding for over 15 years. This underscores the importance of patience and conviction in our investments, allowing them to flourish over time without regretting panic selling at the worst possible moment when everything seemed to be in free fall. Markets operate in cycles intricately linked to liquidity, and if history repeats or even rhymes a bit, this time won't be an exception. We may witness our investments, especially in Bitcoin, soaring to new historical highs. All we need to do is hodl. Let's continue to pay close attention to Raoul Pal and what he has to say.
Simply hold until new highs. Right, I'm going to tell you a story. I keep telling this story. Look, it's horses for courses, as the English expression goes. I first bought Bitcoin in 2013 at $200. My thesis was this is a 10-year bet, and I think it's worth $1 million, but I'm going to discount myself by 90% for the moron factor. So therefore it's worth $100,000, and it's at $200. And I said, this is the best macro bet we will ever be given, and the best macro bet we have ever been given. That was 2013. I was pretty impressed if I look back, because it was exactly the case. So I rode it up, and it went up to 5x from where I bought it. Then it collapsed 85%. I'm like, fine, it's an option for me. It's a 10-year bet. It then ran up 10x into 2017. 4 years later, I'm up 10x. And I got a bit nervous in the space because of forking wars and other stuff. And I stupidly forgot the initial premise of the trade, which was this 10-year bet, you just run it. Because when the P&L stacks up, you start thinking, well, really, do I want to give this back? But you've got to learn how to do that if you're running long duration time horizons. So I sold out at 2,000, 2,500, and it went up to 20,000 in that run. And people were laughing at me, and I was like, look, I've made 10x. Thank you very much. I've done this really, really well. And then I watched it and watched it and watched it, and then eventually got the entry point to get back in again, which was April 2020, and it fell back down. I think I got in 6,500 and bought it, from 6,500 to about 12,000. I kept buying it, and it rocketed higher, and much bigger position than when I first started. Okay, great. And I still own it today. It's pulled back up again. Okay. So I went back and looked, if I just kept my original investment and not touched it, even with the market down from its high 50%, I'd have made 5 times as much money. And my bet in 2020 was a lot bigger than it was back in 2013. And then here's the real crux. And me and backwards baseball cap Brian were talking about this before we came on, is like, if you just remember that log channel and the big cyclical up and downs, which is the economic cyclicality, if you just buy within 30% of the low, which is not that difficult, 30%, you don't even have to be bottom ticking it. I just calculated I got 30% near the low. If you'd have just added my original bet, which wasn't that big, it would have been 25 times as much performance. And that was the lesson learned. That's why I didn't sell a single thing and I kept buying. My duration really for this is I will probably take some off the table in this trade. My duration, my real bet is to run most of it until 2030. That's always been the game, and it remains the game for me. Obviously, peel off some lifestyle gains, do whatever you need to do, appease the wife, that kind of stuff. But I think 2030 is the horizon. But you do you, I do me. I have a stomach for risk. I've been doing this for a long time. I actually enjoy the risk of crypto. I enjoy the shit throwing when it goes down 70%. I'm buying like crazy, and everybody else is like, "You bastard! It's terrible. It's the worst investment ever." And then you go back 3 years later, and it's like 10x where they were all selling it. It's just it's a ridiculous business, but it's a lot of fun as long as you understand the game that you're in. If your game is you need those profits, for goodness sake, take the bloody profits.
Whether you agree or disagree with Raoul Pal, it's undeniable that his outlook for the market in the coming months is highly bullish. He supports his stance with various arguments which he shares alongside other prominent analysts, and we've extensively discussed in this video. Now, after hearing his predictions, I'd like to know your thoughts on the matter. Do you believe we will witness new highs for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market in 2024? Whether you do or not, please share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more similar content. Thank you all for watching this video. We are Wealth Wizards and we wish you an excellent day. Goodbye.